We all know that feeling, right? That tightness in your chest, your heart pounding like a drum, and those racing thoughts that just refuse to quiet down? That's stress. But what if I told you that stress isn't just a feeling? It's not just in your head. It's actively, physically, changing the very structure of your brain every single day. You see, when you encounter a stressor, it could be anything, from a looming deadline at work, to being stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, or even going through a tough breakup. Your brain goes into high alert. It sounds an internal alarm, sending a direct message to your adrenal glands. The message is simple: release cortisol. Cortisol is your body's primary stress hormone, and in small, controlled bursts, it's a lifesaver. It is what gives you that jolt of energy and focus to swerve out of the way of a car or power through that final presentation. It's designed for short-term survival. But here's the problem in our modern world. Most of our stress isn't short-term. It's chronic. It's the low-grade, constant pressure that never seems to let up. And when your body is flooded with cortisol day after day, it stops being helpful and starts to cause real damage. This constant flood begins to systematically reshape your brain, altering its architecture from the inside out. Today, we're going to dive deep into exactly how this happens, and more importantly, what you can do to reverse the damage and reclaim your brain. Let's start with one of the most crucial parts of your brain, the hippocampus. Think of the hippocampus as your brain's librarian. It's responsible for learning new things, forming new memories, and regulating your emotions. It helps you remember where you parked your car, what you learned in a meeting, and it helps you keep your cool when things get frustrating. Under normal conditions, it's a bustling hub of activity. But when chronic stress enters the picture, with its relentless stream of cortisol, the hippocampus starts to suffer. Cortisol is toxic to the neurons in this region. Over time, this constant exposure causes the hippocampus to literally shrink. Scientific studies, using advanced brain imaging, have shown that individuals suffering from long-term stress have a visibly smaller hippocampus with fewer neural connections. What does this feel like in your day-to-day life? It's that brain fog that makes it impossible to concentrate. It's forgetting names, appointments, or why you even walked into a room. You might find it harder to learn new skills or retain information. And because the hippocampus also helps manage emotions, its decline can leave you feeling emotionally volatile, overwhelmed, and less able to cope with even minor setbacks. You're not just being forgetful or too sensitive. Your brain's very own learning and emotional control center is being compromised. It's a physical change, and it explains so much about why we feel so drained and unfocused when we're reburied in stress. Now, let's move to a neighboring region in the brain, one that works in tandem with the hippocampus, but has a very different job: the amygdala. If the hippocampus is the calm librarian, the amygdala is the hypervigilant security guard. It's your brain as a fear center constantly scanning the environment for potential threats. Its job is to trigger the fight or flight response to keep you safe from danger. A very important job, indeed. Under normal circumstances, the amygdala fires up when there's a real threat, then calms down once the danger is past. But what happens when it's constantly bathed in stress hormones? Unlike the hippocampus, the amygdala doesn't shrink. It does the opposite. It grows. Chronic stress causes the amygdala to become larger and more active. The neurons within it become more sensitive, developing more connections, making it easier and faster to trigger an alarm. This means your brain's security guard becomes paranoid and overworked. It starts seeing threats everywhere, even when there are none. A critical email from your boss feels like a personal attack. A friend not texting back immediately feels like a sign of abandonment. Your brain gets stuck in survival mode, perceiving danger around every corner. This is the biological root of anxiety. You feel on edge, jumpy, and constantly worried because your amygdala is essentially screaming danger all the time. This overreactivity makes it incredibly difficult to feel calm, safe, and relaxed. You're living with a heightened sense of fear, not because you're weak, but because your brain's threat detection system has been kicked into overdrive. So we have a shrinking hippocampus, making it hard to learn and regulate emotions, and an expanding amygdala, making us anxious and fearful. But there's a third key player in this story: the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain right behind your forehead. Think of it as the CEO of your brain. It's in charge of all the high-level executive functions. Logical reasoning, complex decision-making, long-term planning, impulse control, and social behavior. It has the voice of reason that tells you not to eat the entire pint of ice cream or to think before you speak. The prefrontal cortex is what separates us from other animals. It allows us to set goals, solve complex problems, and override our primal urges. However, this sophisticated region is incredibly sensitive to stress. When cortisol levels are high, the communication between the prefrontal cortex and other parts of the brain is weakened. Stress essentially cuts the phone lines to the CEO's office. What's the result? Your ability to think clearly and rationally plummets. When you're stressed, your brain is actively prioritizing the reactive, emotional signals from the supersized amygdala over the calm, logical input from the weakened prefrontal cortex. That's why, under pressure, you might make impulsive decisions you later regret. It's why you might find yourself endlessly overthinking small problems, stuck in a loop of worry. Or you might just shut down completely, unable to make any decision at all. Your brain is literally shifting its resources away from reason and towards pure survival. The CEO has been sidelined, and the panicked security guard is now running the show. After hearing all of that, a shrinking hippocampus, a hyperactive amygdala, and a weakened prefrontal cortex, it might feel pretty bleak. It can feel like your brain is waging a war against itself, and you're just caught in the crossfire. But here's the most important part of this entire story. It is not all bad news, not even close, because your brain possesses an incredible, almost magical quality called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself, to form new neural connections, and to change throughout your life. Your brain isn't a fixed, static organ. It's more like a dynamic, living sculpture that is constantly being shaped by your experiences, your thoughts, and your actions. This means that the damage caused by stress is not permanent. Your brain can heal, it can recover, and it can literally regrow the connections that were lost. So, how do we trigger this healing process? It starts with lowering your cortisol levels and activating your body's rest and digest system, also known as the parasympathetic nervous system. This is your body's built-in calm down switch. When you engage in activities that promote relaxation and well-being, you are actively telling your brain that the threat has passed and it's safe to stand down. Simple, accessible things can make a huge difference. Getting enough quality sleep is non-negotiable. It's when your brain does most of its cleaning and repair work. Practices like meditation and mindfulness have been shown to directly reduce the size of the amygdala and increase the density of the hippocampus. Even just 10 minutes of deep, slow breathing can significantly lower cortisol levels in your bloodstream. Things like going for a walk outside in nature, listening to calming music, or having a meaningful conversation with a friend can all flip that switch from stress to calm, initiating the process of rewiring your brain for the better. I want you to really let this sink in. Every time you consciously choose to take a break, every time you allow yourself a moment of genuine laughter, every time you pause to take a few deep, intentional breaths, you are not being lazy or unproductive. You are performing a powerful act of neurological maintenance. You are literally rewiring your brain to be stronger, healthier, and more resilient. With each mindful action, you are actively teaching your overactive amygdala to chill out. You're showing it that not everything is a fever alarm fire. You are providing your shrunken hippocampus with the right conditions to heal and grow back, strengthening your memory and emotional balance. And you are handing the controls back to your prefrontal cortex, empowering it to be the calm, rational CEO it was meant to be. It's a conscious process of taking back control from your automatic stress response. So, the next time someone casually tells you to just relax or says, "It's only stress," you can remember the truth. It's not asterisk stress. It's brain chemistry. It's neural wiring. It is the physical manifestation of your brain adapting to what it perceives as a hostile environment. But the most empowering part of knowing this is realizing you have agency. You have the power to influence this process. You can reprogram your brain and build a more stress-resilient you, and it doesn't require a dramatic life overhaul. It starts with one deep breath, one walk around the block, one good night's sleep at a time. This is MedSimplified Health Explained, where we help you understand the incredible machine that is your body, one system at a time. If you found this helpful and want to learn more, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thank you for watching, and stay curious.